Shohei Ohtani has found himself in yet another off-field controversy, and this one is even stupider than the last one. I'm sorry to rip the band-aid off right away, but if you're mad at Shohei Ohtani for this, you need to look in the mirror and figure out what is wrong in your life. This is another classic example of a witch hunt, the same thing that happened the last time Shohei Ohtani was in a controversy. When Shohei Ohtani was accused of being in a sports betting controversy not too long ago, everybody immediately assumed that he was definitely guilty, and then even after it was proven, both by MLB and by the government, that this was not the case, people still thought that he was actually guilty because this was obviously a cover-up, even though there was evidence shown to the public that was found that said the exact opposite. But people don't care about evidence if it goes against their stupid narratives. There was literally video of Shohei Ohtani's translator wiring money from his bank account and then going out and buying sports cards. And if Shohei Ohtani wanted to buy sports cards, he could have done that on his own without that being an issue. Bobby Witt Jr. has an Instagram page dedicated to buying sports cards. That's not a problem whatsoever. The problem was the sports betting. But if Shohei Ohtani's translator was buying sports cards behind Shohei Ohtani's back, wouldn't it also be likely that he was probably the one doing the gambling and not the guy who's worth $700 million? I don't know, that's just a crazy concept, I know, but obviously he was innocent, but because people hate success, they wanted him to be proven guilty, so they continued to run with the narrative that he is guilty when clearly he's not. People just hate success, people hate players that win, and people just hate players that they don't see very often. Shohei Ohtani is better than my favorite player, so I don't like him. That's how people think. And yes, part of it is because he's on the Dodgers, but it's not all of it because people didn't like him when he was on the Angels as much either. They get sick of seeing his greatness, they get sick of seeing his dominance, and they'd rather see somebody that no one really cares about other than themselves. Shohei Ohtani is the face of Major League Baseball, and that makes people think that MLB will cover things up for him. But they don't do that. Think about guys like Barry Bonds and Alex Rodriguez, who were the face of their league for years at a time. Barry Bonds and A-Rod, they're not in the Hall of Fame, even though they each have 700 home runs. Actually, A-Rod has 696 home runs, doesn't he? Yes, I was right. He only has 696, so he was 4 home runs off of being in the 700 home run club. Either way, that doesn't change the point that both of these players were faces of the league. Barry Bonds never actually failed a steroid test, so he wasn't suspended, but he did go through legal trials, and A-Rod was suspended for cheating. They made that public, and they suspended him publicly. They shot down one of the faces of their franchise, and now he's not in the Hall of Fame. And again, the same thing has happened with Barry Bonds. Emmanuel Clase, he's not as big of a player as Shohei Ohtani, obviously, but last year he was the best closer in baseball, and he's one of the historically best closers in baseball to start a career ever. So for them to potentially ban and suspend him for this gambling situation that he's currently going through proves that this is an actual issue that MLB looks into, as well as it being a real government issue as well, that obviously Major League Baseball is not going to hide from the government. This is a extreme multi-billion-dollar corporation, and if you think that they are going to get their entire league destroyed because they're covering up real crimes from one of their players just because he's the best player in the league, you need to go outside and talk to a real human being. I'm sorry. This news story is an absolute nothing burger, and it looks like once again Ohtani was not mixed in with the greatest people, and his agent kind of roped him into a scheme where he was going to buy real estate, but then his agent kind of made it seem like he was never going to buy this real estate anyway, and it's nothing that Shohei Ohtani did. It really doesn't matter. I had to use the title of this video to mask and pretend like I was going to get on Shohei Ohtani about this, but really I just wanted to say how dumb people are for still believing in the gambling thing and now latching on to this story and its stupid headline. The headline of this story being Ohtani/agent accused of sabotaging $240 million Hawaii real estate project. If you click on the link and you read through this article, you'll know that Ohtani was potentially going to buy a $17 million house, and then Ohtani became the face of this project. However, However, he kind of backed out, but it wasn't even him, it was his agent, saying that if they don't add more to the property, they're not going to go through with the purchase. I don't know where Ohtani comes into play with this. They're just using the name because it's Shohei Ohtani and that's recognizable. There's a lawsuit going on that's probably not going to get passed because who cares at the end of the day? And anyway, it's not like this is something that should affect Shohei Ohtani from playing baseball, and it's not going to. So this is a nothing burger story. The gambling one was at least a story that was there because that potentially could have got Ohtani banned from Major League Baseball. This cannot, and this is not a real story at all. He's just one of the most recognizable people in sports, and people need clicks on headlines, so they put his name in headlines, kind of like what I did with this video. That's just how it works in media.